Everyday people cannot lie to a bank about how much money they have in order to get a favorable loan to buy a home or to send their kid to college. And if they did, the government would throw the book at them. Why should this be any different? It is a tale of two justice systems, one for everyday working people and one for the elite, the rich and the powerful.
Madalia, to me, that sort of gets at the fundamental crux of all of the Trump accountability conversations, right? This idea of there being one standard of justice. And while I take David's point that, the banks, they knew who they were dealing with, I still think for folks who are watching all of this, as they watch it laid bare, there's a question of what message it sends if all of it is laid bare and then he still sort of walks away with no penalty.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, she caught the tension there in her speech where she said everyday Americans, can't do this. Donald Trump, has gotten away with this for so long. But I think the other point about Deutsche Bank is that not only did they know, but they also benefited from this. Deutsche Bank is in a weird position of both being the victim of this lying and also a beneficiary of the lying. And that is part of why there's a double standard, because if everybody is in on the grift, it's really, really hard to tag the grifters. And I think one of the reasons this is so maddening, and we're seeing it with the Mar-a-Lago investigation too, is that he does say one thing in public and has his lawyers say something else. And it's very, very much the case that he benefits from having this massive, massive public platform in which he can say anything with impunity, and it doesn't seem to inflect on the lawsuits.
So talking about grifters, David, top allies of Trump have created a new super PAC called MAGA Inc. It's expected to serve as the main vehicle for his midterm spending, could ultimately become his fundraising arm for a 2024 campaign should he decide to run. Reporting suggests Trump's other PAC, Save America, has spent close to $4 million on legal consulting in August alone. What do we know about how PAC funds are being used?
I don't think we know a whole lot, honestly. And I think there are, as you mentioned, there is this new PAC that's been set up. There's the Save America PAC. There are a bunch of other lingering PACs from the 2020 election that still are open and paying out huge amounts in legal fees to his lawyers at Jones Day. And I think clearly Trump is doing everything he can to raise as much money as he can from as many people as he can in as many PACs as he can to defray these pretty substantial legal bills that he is likely to face. I think he's going to face a lot of scrutiny if he throws his hat in the ring for the 2024 presidential election from some of his potential primary opponents and probably from the Republican Party writ large about the way that he's using campaign contributions to cover what may be personal legal expenses. But again, as we've been saying this whole show, Trump often says one thing in public, does another thing in private, and there tends to be a lot of impunity, which is maddening for normal people and for Democrats certainly, but it's a pattern and he keeps getting away with it. So I'm not sure anything's really going to change, I'm afraid.